Hey, Walter Sorrells back with some knife making shop hacks. Today, hacking that electric drill. So battery-powered electric drills are great. Modern battery technology allows you to pack at least a fair amount of torque into an electric drill. Everybody knows you can use them not only for drilling, but for driving screws. But there's a lot more you can do with them. Today, we're going to show a really cool use for an electric drill. One that has nothing to do with drilling, and that you'll find incredibly useful. Sort of. Battery-powered electric drills are great. Modern battery technology allows you to pack a pretty fair amount of torque into an electric drill. Now everybody knows that you can use them not only for drilling, but for driving screws. But there's a lot more you can do with them. Today, we'll show you a really cool use for an electric drill, one that has nothing to do with drilling, and that you'll find incredibly useful. Sort of. So my latest folding knife, the X Mark II, has a pivot bearing system that used tiny hardened steel washers behind the bearings. Now in previous versions of the X, they fit really neatly into this little cavity that was milled into the handle. But for reasons I'm not going to get into here, that cavity is a hair smaller in diameter in the Mark II than it was in the original. So the washers that I used for the original design don't fit anymore. They're 378 in diameter, 378 thousandths of an inch in diameter, but the cavity's 375. So we're going to use an electric drill to hack that problem. Now, if you think that this is a super obscure problem that has zero application to your life, you are correct, sir. But hang in there. There's a general principle at work here that'll come in handy someday in your shop. I guarantee it. I'm going to start my hack with a piece of 3/16 inch brass rod, exactly the same diameter as the pivot in the knife. Using a garden variety Home Depot threading die, I'll thread the rod for a couple of inches with a 10/28 thread. Then I'll thread a nut running it all the way out to the end of the threads. This was a normal nut, not a round nut. We'll see how that came to be in a minute. So, here are the little washers. I'll just slide them onto the rod. Then I'll snug down a second nut, finger tight's fine, and chuck the whole assembly up in my drill. So, what I'll be doing is just running the drill against the face of my belt grinder until the washers are down to about 365 thou, which will give me enough play for them to easily fit. Now, the key point, and this is why you don't have to tighten the snot out of the nut that holds all this stuff together, is that you have to orient the belt and rotate the drill so that the belt grinder is basically tightening the assembly together the whole time. Run it on the other side of the belt, or run the drill in the wrong direction, and the whole thing will do this. If you've ever tried rounding things by hand on the belt grinder, basically just kind of twiddling along with it until it gets round, it's very hard to do with any accuracy at all, much less while maintaining any sort of concentricity. And in this case, keeping that hole concentric to the exterior is really pretty important. Otherwise, it can cause the pivot to bind up. But here, the rotation of the drill keeps the stack moving briskly along so that you get nice even grinding. And concentricity is maintained fairly well enough for this particular application anyway, and the washers stay perfectly round. I just measure until I get to the right diameter. And there we go. Slips perfectly into the cavity in the knife. So, who cares? This is a solution to a problem that's facing exactly one dude on planet Earth, and that's me. But the point is that you can do all kinds of cool things with electric drills using similar principles. Here I'm putting a taper on a delrin rod. I do this with bamboo pegs that I use on Japanese sword handles. Works great. Or the most important shop hack of all time, hands down, chuck up that Ticonderoga number 2 that you used to ace the SAT test with back in high school, fire up that $2,000 pencil sharpener, and voila. Okay, totally stupid example, but you see the point. Once you get started looking at your electric drill as more than just a fancy screwdriver, you'll be amazed at the uses that you'll find for it. So, by the way, this Shop Hack series is new. Trying to keep these videos nice and short and sweet. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. And if you've been watching my videos for the last 10 years without subscribing, now's your chance. Take care and see you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. If you feel like you got something out of this video, don't forget to subscribe. Also, click on the link to Patreon for a great way to give back to the channel. Plus, check me out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Links in the description. If you want something sharp and pointy, maybe a gift for yourself or one of the cooler people in your life, check out my Tactics Armory website and pick up one of our tactical or outdoor knives. And finally, if you want to learn to make Hamones or Japanese swords, check out WalterSorrellsBlades.com, where you can find videos about how I make Hamones, as well as forging, mounting, polishing, and fittings for Japanese swords. Thanks, and see you soon.